Okay, hopefully the last in the binary series, and this should give you guys hopefully enough stuff that you can kind of keep going for the rest of this part of this unit. So I'm going to read two little bits. One is we're going to talk about counting higher. Oops, there's the glare. Counting higher than 31. So we saw with a couple of cards, we could count pretty high, but the higher we go, the harder that gets. So there does become a point at which you kind of have to have more numbers. You can see, like, it took us quite a few digits to just represent 29. Well, what if we have to go beyond that? Well, you've noticed the cards go 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. What comes after that? Hopefully, you're noticing that we're multiplying by 2 each time. So, what'll come after that is 32, 64, 128, 256, and so on and so forth. In fact, if you learn to count in binary on your fingers, you can count up to 1023 just on your fingers, which is a pretty cool trick if you ever want to show somebody how high you can count. So if we needed to add bigger numbers, you just add up the powers of 2, 2 to the first, 2 to the second, 2 to the third, so on and so forth, until you got high enough to meet the number you were looking for. Last but not least, I wanted to talk a little bit about this page. This is the worksheet 2 introduction. What's the number? As part of the binary numbers demonstration, students also learn to reason about the next number in a sequence, the largest possible number, and how many cards are needed to represent various number ranges. This worksheet will reinforce these concepts. After giving out this bits, I'm going to skip a few things. After giving out this bits worksheet, review the range of numbers that can be represented by 5 bits, 0 to 31, and explain that in some cases the computer might store more or less than 5 bits. We usually use 8 bits, we call that a byte. For smaller numbers, we might want to use less. You can save space. 0 can mean false and 1 can mean true, and you can save a lot of space by not having to represent each letter. So, binary, some terms we should know. Binary, a system where number representation is done through ones and zeros. Bit, one binary number, a 0 or a 1. A binary string is a sequence of bits. A byte is a string with 8 bits. Kilobyte is 100 bytes. 1,000 bytes. A megabyte is 1,000 kilobytes, and a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. You guys have probably actually heard of things all the way up through terabytes now. That's 1,000 gigabytes. So you're going to do the next page. Actually, I don't think I gave you the next page other than to make sure you could finish that counting by binary and make sure you really have that as a concept. So I did want you to see, yep, worksheet 2, there it is. So I want you to come up with a whole bunch of numbers and see if you can figure out what their numbers are. If you're feeling like bigger numbers, try them. If you're feeling like you're a little overwhelmed, stick to numbers under 31. You can do all of those with the cards. The rest of that worksheet, the back has a couple of quick questions on how many numbers you'd need to represent a couple of different things. I want you to keep practicing with that. And then to come up with a letter by letter binary. The reason for that is we may play around with that a little bit later in the course when I want you to try and create your own codes where you can contact each other and nobody can read it because it'll be in binary. If anyone has any questions, feel free to give me a call. Hopefully these videos will give you a bit of a hand. If you are getting stuck, I would recommend, there we go. If you are getting stuck, I would recommend skipping to the part on designing for accessibility. I feel like that lesson's probably a little easier to think about. It doesn't require a lot of computers or math. It's more about thinking about how you would want to handle something if you couldn't see or hear. If you do have any questions, give me a call. The number I'm allowed to give out to you guys is 427-4716. I do not know that number. I will know it eventually. Send me a quick email. Hope everything's going great. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay in touch.